Yeah, we do have Cursed Hollow once again, one of the most standard maps, well, the most standard map in Heroes of the Storm currently, and we do have Stigma in the first pick, first ban, and they are going to put their first ban onto Jaina.
Not too much of a surprise. I like to bring this up. The five powerful ladies of Heroes of the Storm right now. Jaina is definitely amongst the ringleader positions right there. But we're also not going to see Sylvana. She is still globally banned. Tomb of the Spider Queen, you would have noticed, is not in the map pool here either. But that's a first. A Diablo ban coming out.
Yeah, we do have a Diablo ban coming out from Gryphus. Gryphus, last series, putting a lot of priority on the Diablo picks, but they are quite afraid with them. And we did have a first pick on to Tyrande from Stigma and a snap second pick onto Illidan Zagara from Gryphus.
Now, that is a very powerful start here from Gryphus, but they might be leaving themselves a little bit too open by picking up both of those at the same time. I mean, you can't really give the Illidan over, and at the same time, we see a huge favoritism towards Zagara for earlier picks. But I mean, now we have a double pick phase here from Stigma where they can, take a favored support, they can take a favored counter to either of these. That might lead us into a little bit of a sticky situation for Gryphus later on down the draft. But as well, I mean, what are the chances that we're not seeing a Vikings this round?
I gotta say it's pretty unlikely, especially on Cursed Hollow, and also the fact that Gryphus did play Vikings in both games last series. But we do have the ETC pick from Stigma, and I also expect we could see a Valo pick here, but nothing could surprise me at this point.
Well, Stigma, yeah, they're going to go with the battle cow. So they got the Tyrande for the blow up, for the information control. I mean, owls and stuns. The lunar flares came out really strong last round for Gryphus. But now, Gryphus is going to have to face against them this round. I suspect this is going to be a support pick. I want to say it's going to be a support pick from Stigma. And it will. It will be the Malfurion. But, I mean, we're leaving Tassadar on the table, Rhaegar, Uther.
Europe has been really, really preferring this Malfurion over and over and over again. Maybe Europe has figured out something that North America hasn't yet, that Malfurion and his Tranquility heroic ability is just so very strong in this current meta. Going especially against a sustained DPS.
Wait, whoa. Are those real picks?
I guess Gryphus really just likes the Dwarven brothers, the Hammer brothers in Muradin and Falstad. Really excited to see what they have in store with these picks. We gotta just confirm that those are the actual picks, but they just put those right in there, man.
Well, until we're told otherwise, it's just such a U-turn compared to a lot of the things that we've been seeing. This is my first Muradin, I think, this qualifier, let alone perhaps even just this entire cup. And Falstad, when it comes to mine, doesn't really feel like, we've been seeing a heck of a lot of him at all.
Man, there are some crazy things going in my mind right now. I was just about to say Stigma going for that Tranquility and Gryphus going for that sustained damage in Illidan and Zagara, but Gryphus with the snap pick onto Muradin and Falstad. Falstad going to give some of the burst damage that they really do need. And I don't know, man. Muradin, could we see a Haymaker? I mean, all right, call me crazy, but Avatar, very good ultimate. But Haymaker into Maw, and Maw to zone the team from following up on that Haymaker, I don't know if we'll see it, but definitely some interesting possibilities with the team comp of Gryphus.
It sounds like you're bowling at that point.
Exactly.
Haymaker into Maw, strike. Okay, so admins are saying nobody's complaining. So I guess these are the picks. Yeah, Gryphus going with the Muradin Falstad, almost insta lock-ins up against Stigma. So we'll have to see how that works out for them all. They still need to put I was almost going to say Malfurion, but a support on the board. Not going to get a Malfurion out of it. Flip side, though, Stigma, they get that backline with the Vala, and what could they finish off with here?
Well, let's see. What is still available? I mean, Tassadar might be a little bit too much utility for them. Could we possibly see a melee assassin coming from Stigma? I'm not quite sure. Nazebo available, Tychus available. The Vikings are actually still available, so a Vikings pick would not surprise me in the slightest either, especially being so strong on the Cursed Hollow.
Yeah, but Gryphus has no slot for him.
Yeah, indeed. That Rhaegar actually coming out for Stigma, so it's going to be a double healer. Malfurion. Well, yeah, triple healer if you want to. I would say 2.5 healer with that Tyrande. But I wonder, will the Malfurion go for Tranquility? I have to imagine he will, because that's the strength of these kind of double healer comps, is you just have a lot of healing.
Bloodlust comp.
But I have to imagine they will go with their healing ultimates, but what will we see here from Gryphus? They do need a healer pickup, and it's going to be Brightwing.
Yeah, they got the double globals now coming out. We saw Brightwing used very, very well in game number 1 up against Complexity from Gryphus, and they did work. I mean, there's really no other way to put it. The Brightwing was dominating the healing numbers. It had very on point polymorphs, and the Emerald Winds came out extremely strong. There is a heck of a lot of healing, though, on Stigma. You are right with that. And is this going to be, will this be the Tranquility, or will this be Bloodlust, or is it just going to be heals and heals and heals for days? I'm not entirely too sure which way it's going to go, because we don't have a heck of a lot of damage for Stigma.
I'm not too sure. I feel like the strength of these comps, like I said, is coming from getting all of that healing. So I feel like it could be Tranquility and Ancestral Healing, but you never know. Some of these European teams really do like getting Twilight Dream quite a bit. And yeah, and now we're just waiting to get into the lobby here. Did you get that lobby, Forecourt Jester?
You should be able to join into me. I'm just confirming that this is actually going to be the lobby that we're in, but you should be good, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why they invited I Am Morden. I'm pretty sure he's not on this team. Could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. Either way, we're just going to let them just figure it out. Might take a moment or two to get it all under control, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, this will be our game number 1 drafts. And again, this is for seeding points. Both of these teams have hit the main objective. They are in that top 8 to be played out next weekend with some of those giants of Europe. Team SK, Dignitas, Na'Vi, Team Liquid, Gamers 2, and Fnatic are all going to be in attendance. And now, of course, Stigma and Gryphus are going to be joining them there as well. But in terms of everything, I was a little thrown around by that Mirrodin and the Falstead. Now, as a Brightwing, I mean, we kind of saw that coming because they were down to the 1 healer slot. They couldn't take the Rhaegar or the Malfurion because they were both taken. So it was either that or the Uthern. Gryphus had a really good game with the Brightwing. One thing they will have over Stigma here is that global presence.
Yeah, Brightwing and Falstead both adding to the global presence of Gryphus, and Stigma also has the option of global presence in the form of ETC Stage Dive, but we'll have to see if it will be a Stage Dive game or a Mosh Pit game. Stage Dive being picked more times than not nowadays, though, so I would have to imagine that we'll see that global presence from ETC as well.
That is true, right? Yeah, my Skype is covering over that side of the picks. Totally forgot about that ETC there. But I mean, could we actually see a bribe from the Brightwing?
It's quite possible, but we can never forget about that buff to the scouting drone. And Brightwing actually does have scouting drone at that level 1, and with the option of Stigma to roam around with ETC and Tyrande, it could be a scouting drone to help counteract against that should Stigma decide to go for that option. But bribe can be convenient. It allows you to just easily take some mercenaries without actually having to spend any time on them. So if I had to guess, I would say it's most likely going to be a scouting drone, though.
Why do we have a Zeratul in the lobby?
Hey man, maybe he just wants to play Zeratul.
They didn't draft Zeratul. All right, well, okay. If they load up with it, well, I'll let the admins deal with it. Somebody in chat, though, is saying that we have 2 Spanish teams in the finals. This is not the first time that we've seen more or less the rise of Spain, at least here in Heroes. I mean, isn't most of El Nexo, I want to say, like Team Spain?
Yeah, as far as I know, I mean, we do have the Spanish brothers, Vortex and Lucifron, on the famous Team Liquid. Very, very top non-Korean StarCraft 2 players from the European scene. Very, very strong. And now they are bringing their dominance over to Heroes of the Storm. So an exciting time, even for fans of StarCraft that want to root for, their favorite players in a new esport.
So I'm just going to bring the draft up for you guys again because I'm not entirely too sure exactly what we're waiting on here. But this is how it stands. Looking back and forth, I'm still see this. Actually, okay, no, I think mine just lies. I see the Zeratul model, but it's called Vala. And then the Malfurion is actually the Vala model, but it's called Malfurion. So I don't know what's going on with my client. This will be interesting as we load in, Mr. Nick, but there we go. We have the countdown, and we're going to be joining into this game. I have no idea what's about to happen, but game number 1 is for sure on its way. Cursed Hollow, Gryphus, and Stigma. You're here with Nick Hodson, Forecourt Jester. Let's get to it, sir.
Let's. And we'll have to see if we do have a Zeratul in this game. It's quite possible that they may have...
The name was Vala, but the model was Zeratul.
Yeah, but the Vala was also on the team, though, and yeah,
but her name was Malfurion. That's why I don't know what's about to happen. There's totally a Zeratul in here.
Okay, all right, so this makes a little bit more sense. The Zeratul coming out from the side
instead of Rhaegar.
Yeah, instead of Rhaegar from Stigma. Stigma spawning here on the right side of the map as the red team, having that Zeratul player instead of the Rhaegar. The double healer really didn't make sense to me in their composition. They just were a little bit too light on damage, but the Zeratul making quite a bit more sense, and I really like that pickup there from Team Stigma.
Okay, so it's not triple healer. The Rhaegar was a Zeratul. We have all of that under control. And guys, let us introduce to you these teams. The newly minted 2-0 over the NA triumphant Gryphus. It will be Shevatos, Kandar, Inception. To be holding down the mid will be Max Prime, and into the bottom is Ozzy. We do have that bribe on the Bright Wing. That's pretty cool. And please, Mr. Nick, tell us, who do we have on the flip?
Sorry, did you introduce Gryphus?
I did.
Okay, sorry, on the right side of the map, as the red team, we have Team Stigma. It's going to be Shad on that ETC, Karen on that Tyrande, I Am Morden on Zeratul, Thunder on Malfurion, and Red X on Vala.
So, I'm pretty sure I've seen I Am Morden around from somewhere. Isn't he? I could have sworn he was part of another team. So maybe that team disbanded, now he's part of Stigma, or maybe we've casted Stigma before in the past because, I don't know, it's just a name that's tickling my mind. But either way, I mean, they got the Tyrande and the Zeratul. They're looking for the roams. They haven't really successfully found any use of it as of yet. Max Prime is going to take some damage, but he has second wind, so it won't really matter too much in the long run. And the top lane push from Gryphus will just continue pushing on.
Yeah, and we do have a big roam up here from the side of Stigma, trying to counteract that tri-lane of Gryphus, and they're able to pick off Zagara from the side of Gryphus.
And we've seen this actually a lot, not only in NA, but EU. If you have a Zagara and she pushes forward with that creep, with a 3-man, it's really hard to say no to ganking her. She doesn't have any escapes. She does no speed up. She has a very big character model. And, you know, it's some of this roaming comps, I would not be surprised to see him go up there time and time again.
Yeah, and I mean, we just have some really nice gank potential from the side of Stigma. The Zeratul, Tyrande, just very, very nice. And we do have the ETC in lane as well, which allows some additional crowd control to secure a kill. And in the bottom lane, we do have a Falstead versus Vala lane. And Vala with that multi-shot really putting a lot of pressure onto Falstad.
It's a little hard for Falstad to duel out if he doesn't have barrel roll, and then even then, I mean, if you're not on the map with this, Zerto with the Tyrande, you use a barrel roll at the wrong moment, you could easily find yourself on the wrong end of a lunar flare, of a blink forward, and that will be that. So you gotta play super careful. It's a bad spot for the Falstad, but he doesn't give up too much because he does have the fly, and he's gonna be able to get back into dodge. Man. Where did the Zagara die now? All right, into the mid. As I said, it's really easy to punish her.
Yeah, Stigma setting up a nice 3-man gank onto the Zagara. Zagara getting abused on that rotation, getting caught, kind of going for the greedy route to the tribute that Stigma was able to get. And yeah, we're going to have the first tribute of the game going over to the side of Stigma. Really nice plays to not only get that early kill on Zagara, but also catch her on the obvious rotation route that she would take.
So I Am Morden was in LDLC. That's why I recognize this name. Thank you, ADRD. But I don't know what the story is there, but he's here with Stigma. So, I mean, that's how it's going to be for now.
Yeah, and we do have I Am Morden and Kren of Team Stigma taking those bruisers now for their team, as well as the Illidan and Zagara of Team Gryphus also taking their bruisers, as we now have that second tribute of the game spawning kind of in a more favorable position for Gryphus, but Team Stigma does have that experience lead just a little bit, but now Gryphus now also getting to that level 7 talent tier.
I think Ozzy is going to attempt to come up to the top lane. He's going to back, and he does have the fly available to him, but actually, no, he's just going to go right back into the bottom, just trying to counter out the soak there from the Vala. It's not the end of the world if we get 2 of these 3 tributes right off the bat. It will be very important for the 3rd tribute fight, but so far, Gryphus is putting up a good defense. Max Prime is there with that zoning potential. The Brightwing is just healing them up over time, but Illidan is soaking, the Falstad is soaking. We do have the battle of the bruisers in the mid, but into the top looks like it's going to be Inception as the target, but it's Stigma looking for this pressure. Kandor's got to be very careful. Pops out that first aid. Max does get that piercing Stormbolt, and going back and forth. Not really any kills as of yet, but as I say that, there goes the Mirrodin. He will drop, and I think that will be the retreat here from Gryphus.
Yeah, Stigma doing a good job holding the line, and I do feel like Vala got a little bit more experience out of the bottom lane than Gryphus did. But Falstad was forced to base, and then I think he lost several creeps there, allowing Stigma to hit that level 8 towards the end of that tribute fight.
Now, Ozzy's going back to base actually a heck of a lot. So he is definitely losing out on little bits of experience here and there. His lane presence up against the Vala so far has not really been super successful. What did he get at the level 7? So far, he has the Power Throw, Gathering Power, Boomerang. So a pretty typical kind of build coming out from Falstad. But, you know, in terms of the Vala, geez. Okay, it looks like they traded themselves out.
Yeah, and after that tribute fight in the top lane, Illidan did get picked off, so a really nice lead going on over to the side of Stigma as of right now. And Stigma, I Am Morden taking those Siege Giants for their team, and we have Muradin and Malfurion facing off in the middle lane, and Illidan and Zagara on the side of Gryphus, trying to do a little bit of damage here to Shad of Team Stigma, but we do have that 3rd tribute of the game spawning with Team Stigma already having their heroic abilities.
I guess I'm just not used to such early game aggression. I mean, we've had some really tame early games here, so do apologize for some of the camera work there, ladies and gentlemen. Have not really been able to catch some of those early kills, but early kills is the name of the game so far. Stigma is up 5-1, and this is their 3rd tribute, and it's going to go uncontested.
My favor is yours.
Yeah, Stigma is just doing fantastic in this game right now, and the fact that they had the heroic abilities ahead of time just really made the difference there, and this is going to be a curse for Stigma onto Gryphus's base, and let's see, will they be able to make use of it? So far, it looks like they want to grip up here, and Falstad actually getting picked off.
that ragdoll effect was really brutal right there. But level 11 to 10, I mean, we got the heroics on both sides of things. Shevatos and the Avatar is going to be enough to keep Prime at least up for now. Wow, they are going super deep as Shad just jumps in with that stage dive. But looks like it will only be that kill on the Falstead for now. We still got these Siege Giants pushing out. The whole fort situation has been wrapped up, and we're now transitioning for a boss steal here from Stigma. They're continuing to put in some solid early game pressure.
Man, I gotta hand it to Stigma. They are really running a clinic on this aggression. Like, they are just going in there. Like, that stage dive, like, it didn't do much, but it, man, they just went really hard for that golem right there, catching Gryphus completely off guard, and so many kills being racked up, so many mercenary camps being racked up. There's so much pressure for Gryphus to deal with, and once again they are losing the race to that level 13. Stigma getting quite close to that mark.
Yeah, 13 is going to be a really big milestone, because 13 to compare to, well, probably just a little bit over 12 by the time we get to it. Having that bigger damage spike can really go a long way, especially when you're ahead. 6-1 is a very solid position for Stigma. They've only dropped that one trade out there, and they have painted this map fairly red. We got Shevatos in the bottom dealing with that golem, and the rest of everyone is now going up and looking to contest this next one. But will they be successful? It's gonna be Max Prime going in. Ozzy, I don't think actually hit anything with that hinterland blast. You see now the Void Prison, the Maw, not exactly stellar examples of either, but everyone is just dogpiling on and on and on onto this point. But I don't know who's actually going to take this one home. 3 kills to 1 so far. Inception and Max Prime are getting super low on that hit point. They only have Shad to deal with, and Shad just takes 1 hoof off that point, and it looks like it will be the 4, and now the 5-man kill. The dogpile was successful, and Gryphus not only bring themselves to 13, but they grab that boss, get a team wipe, and now they're stealing the bruisers.
Yeah, it's really unfortunate for Stigma. They were in such a nice position in this game, and now they, with that misplay at the Grave Golem, pretty much just allowed Gryphus to re-enter the game on nearly an equal footing. Experience very, very equal. Once again, the fort count equal once again as well. And yeah, we still have that Grave Golem barreling down top with the Siege Giants, and we have the first tribute spawning for this next set of tributes.
And it's going to be top. You can see Gryphus coming out in force on top of it as well. And they pick up their first tribute of the game. Goes right into their pocket. So, yeah, I got to say, I mean, Gryphus all of a sudden just come right back into that one. They've actually now even taken the experience lead. You can see Ozzy down into this bottom lane. Is now starting to really capitalize on some siege damage while he can, but he has to deal with Shad, and there's no fort for Ozzy kind of to retreat to, but while that is going on, it looks like Zeratul got caught on the rotation, and he's actually going to be dead in the water. So Shad was doing some good things and immediately just says, nope, with Zeratul down and the rest of the rotation from Gryphus, he actually stage dives to top.
Yeah, I mean, Gryphus doing a lot better in this game now. It feels like that Stigma has been a little bit shaken up by that kind of throw at the Grave Golem. And yeah, really, really nice moves here from Gryphus, and I feel that they are in a pretty reasonable position to take this tribute as well. We do not have the stage dive on the side of Stigma, but all heroics are available.
Yeah, well, Max, you gotta be super careful there, brother. He's gonna get low. He's going to try to use that second wind to get back up. He still has that avatar ready to go. Void Prison, Maz going down. Not exactly the big game changers that we were looking for, though. Candor goes in, hits all 5 teammates of Stigma with that metamorphosis. Gets pretty tanky out there, but has to immediately get out of dodge. It does look like Gryphus has now successfully been pushed off of this point. We cannot get any heals of decent use on top of Prime, and he is just going to weather the storm. Unfortunately, that is going to be it for the dwarf as Morden chases him into the forest. That is going to be the tribute to Stigma, and a possible bruiser steal. No, looks like it's going to be a fort snipe.
Yeah, that was a pretty nice Void Prison by Morden in that exchange. The Muradin of the side of Gryphus was actually chunked quite a bit before the fight even started, so Gryphus just kind of on the back foot at the beginning of that fight had to sacrifice that tribute over to the side of Stigma.
And now Stigma is going to try to punish out with a lot of these mercs, as many as they can. They took the fort, they're going to take these siege giants now, and could they actually rotate top for a top fort snipe, or they got to be very careful of a tribute spawning. Was that 2 tributes in a row bottom?
I want to say it was, but I actually think the first one spawned in top, so I'm not sure. We'll have to see.
So it's a 50-50 gamble then. It's either going to be top or the bottom. Oh, it's going to be top. Looks like the positioning war will be won out by Stigma. Not only are they going to be able to push down the top fort, they have the positioning if they want it for this next tribute, but I think they're a little bit more too concerned with this boss going down.
Yeah, we do have Gryphus attempting to pick their Grave Golem. The Brightwing dropping a Polymorph onto Zeratul there, trying to zone him out, prevent him from getting in here and doing any work. But it looks like we are going to have a fight here.
Well, the Maw is going to go down. We do have some roots. There comes the Avatar. Oh, the Void Prison is pretty decent on top of Kandor and Shevatoth. Wow, we actually had the Rain of Vengeance hit nobody in that Maw, but we do got Shad into the back. He's going to be chasing around Inception. That's going to be lightning strikes coming out from Ozzy. They take down the Malfurion, and Kren is not going to be living through that one either. We got low hit points on top of Red. The blink forward from Morden will kill out Inception finally, but he's going to now suffer the same fate because he's already used out that blink. The first aid is not going to be near enough, and Shad versus Max, it's going to be a bit of a wet noodle chase, but still, Gryphus successfully defend, and they're going to go right back on top of this boss.
Yeah, I mean, Stigma trying to take that Grave Golem away, just how they lost theirs, but getting a little bit too ahead of themselves, trying to get in there and steal the Grave Golem, but kind of just a sloppy fight on their part, getting a almost full team wipe there, and
Uh-oh, Ozzy. He flew right on top of Shad. That's going to be now Shevatoth's coming in. Oh, the barrel roll is just going to be so clutch right there. Not what Ozzy was expecting when he flew up here.
yeah, man, the side of Stigma has been giving Ozzy quite a bit of grief in this game. They just want to abuse that Falstead pick that we don't typically see nowadays, but really got to give props to Ozzy for braving the Falstead pick in this game. But we do have Stigma going for their Grave Golem, and it looks like it's going to be uncontested.
Yes, it will 100% be uncontested. I mean, blue team curse is a little bit of an issue for them, and that's is that the first curse, or is this the second?
This is the second curse.
So 2 for 2 going over the way of Stigma. They're still behind in that experience, but now Gryphus, I mean, they have to deal with this bottom boss. It does look like Stigma is going to be trying to deal with their top, with their bottom, whereas Gryphus has to deal with their top. Either way, it's not quite going to be keeps from either side yet, but still a lot of siege damage being wrought from both of these. Now, we are level 18 each here, Mr. Nick. In terms of some of these talents, I'm looking at this Falstead. He looks like a very typical mage build, but the Lightning Rod, instead of going for the shield, he went for even more damage. So he's 100% an offensive Falstead here.
Yeah, he is pretty much a traditional caster build on the side of Gryphus, even opting to go for Thunder Strikes instead of that typical giant killer that we've seen since the remove of Rewind at that level 13. But it looks like we are looking to have another fight here.
Yeah, the stun and the hammer from the hammer throws both landing on top of Thunder, but it's not really going to be the end all there. They're thinking about the damage, but now we also got to think about our keeps. And it does look like Gryphus there are going to disengage, whereas Stigma is going to come up and possibly try to press the advantage. Doesn't look like they're going to be either in time, and the cleanup is sound from Gryphus. They will keep this keep for now. Top not looking so hot, and that mid is now at half health as well. One blunder could actually result in 2 keeps for Stigma.
Yeah, I feel like Stigma doesn't even really need to press the issue here. If you look at all the lanes are being pushed out by their minions, the bottom, the top. We even have those catapults in the bottom lane doing a nice bit of pressure, and just like I say, Stigma going to back off, go for their mercenaries, and try to get closer to that level 20 mark. They are slightly losing the race, and I feel that Gryphus needs to kind of just, well, now that they've taken their mercenaries, they're reapplying pressure back on the map, but splitting up a little bit and soaking could be in their interest.
19-19. Gryphus is still leading when it comes to 20. So the soaking for sure, 100% could definitely bring them into a big power spike. The big question is, can they use that with the small time window of 19 to 20? Can they use that to their advantage to try to leverage a fight?
Well, they have to start getting into position now because this window is going to be quite close. We do have that double global option in the bottom lane for Gryphus, and we do have Team Stigma backing off a little bit here, knowing that Gryphus is about to hit that level 20. We do have Shad up here in the top lanes trying to get that experience difference here, and it looks like Gryphus is just going to back off, knowing that both teams are now level 20.
So speaking of 20, looks like Call the Wild Hammer here. We'll finish off our Falstead build. It's just straight up damage from him. Storm shields on both sides. In fact, double storm shield from our supports on the side of Stigma. We got some blinks and some rewinds, and of course the demonic form for our Illidan. You don't really see too many blinks these days. The demonic form is definitely a powerful option. Now, as I said, this top has to be very careful because one blunder and that could be a keep, and it looks like Shad is going to use that global pressure, and we are poking and soaking as much as we can, but that is for sure the keep. Now down for free, essentially, into this top.
Yeah, that global presence of ETC being a constant nuisance. The team of Gryphus was kind of grouped up there a bit too much to go for that tribute, but in the meantime, Shad of Team Stigma was able to get that top keep there. So very, very commanding position here for Stigma. Having 2 keeps down is a very, very nice thing to have in a game.
2 keeps, that's 2 lanes of catapults, and it's the top and the bottom as well. I said it was for free. It wasn't actually true because we did pick up the second tribute, forcing now a curse situation for Gryphus. And a late game curse off a good late game fight could do wonders for Gryphus right now. Both teams have already reached the 20 mark, so there's no racing really left to go. It's all about getting down these keeps, getting down these cores. Shad is still being a really big thorn in the side though in this top lane. He has yet to really leave it, whereas everyone else has just been kind of grouping up as the 4. Could this tribute be the big fight that breaks this game?
Yeah, it's looking to be, and once again, I mean, Stigma has to fight for this one if they do not want to get cursed. They have so much pressure on the map, and they kind of just pulled back and went for those mercenaries. Once you're ahead, get more ahead, but now it is time to fight. They do not want to get cursed here. They want to maintain their map advantage, and it looks like we're going to have a team fight here any moment.
They're definitely thinking about it. Condor keeps forcing out the poke because he's looking to threaten that curse. Shad is now going to be walking forward. The Lunar Flare will miss, but Max Prime, oh, he's dipping so low. He's actually going to just live by the edge of his seat. He's going to go right there into that Void Prison. Here comes now the Maw. The Maw's doing good on the left-hand side. We had the stage dive from the right. Shad just went in, had no support because they were down in the Zerg's stomach, and this is now leading us into a little bit of a strange situation. Max is not looking so hot, but we do got that life steal and the first aid going for Condor. The top 4 retreat from Stigma into the top, and we had the Vala split, and it's enough. Red team is going to be cursed, and nobody, however, is going to die.
Yeah, I mean, despite the fact that Stigma lost that fight, the insane map pressure they have from those 2 keeps being dead, and now 3 keeps being dead, is going to just allow them to secure a Grave Golem. And I mean, this might just be the checkmate here. Gryphus knows it. They know they have to contest this Grave Golem. This is a victory condition for the side of Stigma. And Stigma, Shad is going to do everything he can to zone this here, and it looks like it's just going to be a Grave Golem for Team Stigma.
Oh, if we actually lose out Max or Ozzy here, this is going to be it. Kandar is actually into the back line there, but he goes down. No support for that Illidan. He looks like he was looking for the cap, but he didn't quite grab it. They're going to turn around. They can't get the kill on top of Morden. Max Prime is back into this. He's going to get those stuns off. Ozzy is still a big target here. Here comes Morden looking for those kills. He's going to land the double, the triple, the quad bomb on top of the Mirrodin, and he is now done and dusted. We got the Golem marching down. There's nothing to stop it from getting to this core, and here comes the March of Death from Stigma with the solidified kill on top of that boss head. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is going to be that late game fight that Gryphus was looking for, but it's going to go the way of Stigma. The 4-man kill and the Golem. This is game number 1 solidly in their favor.
Stigma just coming out with such aggressive gameplay, making a couple mistakes, most importantly at their Grave Golem and at the Grave Golem of Gryphus, but they were able to stay in this game, getting tons of map pressure and keeping their lead and securing a victory in this game over Gryphus.
And it is game number 1 of the best of 3, ladies and gentlemen, so it's not over quite yet.